At my school, I'm responsible for the sexuality education of all of our students, from our youngest students, who are 3 years old in nursery school, up through our 12th graders who are turning 18 and getting ready to leave high school. That's a huge range, but every single one of those kids is a sexual being.
All right, guys, so on this edition of Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff World, we have to talk about a story out of California involving a mother who is suing a school district after discovering that a school that's a part of the Chico Unified School District tried to transition her daughter from being a female to a male, including canceling her on breast binding, which is basically I guess technique to make a girl's breast look flat, right? To make her chest look flat like a boy. Okay, apparently she was canceled on that, and she's suing the school district over what they call their parental secrecy policy. You know, these schools that have policies where they don't have to tell the parents about children who are trying to transition their gender or their sex. Okay, they don't have to tell parents about it. The school and the teachers become the parents, okay, of the kids, and they basically groom the kids into transitioning. Yeah, she's suing the school over this policy, and I want to talk about it. So before we get into it, I want to go ahead and roll a news clip of this incident so you guys can get a better understanding of what's going on here. Take a look.
A California mom is speaking out and suing the Chico Unified School District for allegedly secretly transitioning her 11-year-old daughter without her knowledge or consent. The mom says the school's actions violated her parental rights. Senior correspondent Claudia Cowan is live in Sausalito, California with the story. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Mike. Schools call parents about their child for all sorts of reasons. But one California mom is suing because of the phone call she didn't get, the one telling her that her daughter was socially transitioning to a different gender.
I just want them to stop keeping parents in the dark.
California mom Aurora Regino's 11-year-old daughter was living a double life at Sierra View Elementary School. The fifth grader was a girl at home and a boy named Jaden at school. Regino is suing the Chico Unified School District to put a stop to their parental secrecy policy, which she says allows students to switch genders without parental notification or approval.
They were talking to my daughter about different support groups in town to help her with her transition, and then discuss breast binding with my daughter that I had no knowledge of.
Regino's daughter has since identified once again as a female.
Parents have the right to direct the upbringing and education of their kids.
Kate Anderson is senior counsel and director of the Center for Parental Rights at Alliance Defending Freedom.
These schools who are coming up with these policies where they push a child towards a gender transition and lie to parents about that are violating the United States Constitution.
The Chico Unified School District declined our interview request, but addressed Regino's lawsuit at a recent school board meeting.
We are currently researching these issues and consulting state agencies.
Emotions from parents ran high.
Not every kid seeking emotional support is a candidate for gender transition.
My daughter, the last 2 years, has been asked for her pronouns on the first day of school.
Policies of school districts that say if a child says, "Don't tell my parents," the educators will not tell their parents, essentially condones deception. In fact, it's teaching children it's okay for you to lie to your family. And I think that's a terrible lesson for young people.
As for Regino, she says her lawsuit isn't about money, it's about protecting parental rights.
The goal is to make sure that this doesn't happen to any more families and kids.
Regino says her daughter is seeing a new school counselor who believes that this little girl was manipulated. The Chico Unified School District is expected to file a response to the federal lawsuit soon. It's a story we will be following. Mike?
Don't mess with mom. Claudia Cowan?
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Again, just another ad for homeschooling / school choice, okay? That's all that really is. Again, can you imagine sending your child to school thinking that they're going to school to learn, but yet they're living a double life where you have teachers, staff at the school canceling your daughter, in this case, on how to be a dude, okay, on binding her chest, okay, on making her chest flat like a boy. This is ridiculous, right? This is insane. This is absolutely insane. Only in 2023 would you hear stories like this, okay? And this is why Ron DeSantis and what he's doing in Florida is so important. The woke revolutionaries want to boo-hoo on and cry about Ron DeSantis' parental rights and education bill. Okay, there was this dude saying gay, it's anti-LGBTQ, it's transphobic. And the reality is that it's not anti-LGBTQ, okay, it's not anti-trans, but if you want to call it that, fine. It's really about anti-grooming, right? It's about this right here, which is textbook definition of grooming going on in schools. Now, they hate the G word. They hate when people use it, but that's what it is. And that's why, again, laws like the one that Ron DeSantis passed in Florida are so important, because this is happening, okay? And even if it's rare, which, I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. We've heard so many of these stories now, it might not be rare. But even if it is, one time is too many, right? It should never happen. This is why kids and teachers should not be having these types of conversations in school. It's just about pronouns. It's just pronouns. It's just respecting everybody's identity. Well, first and foremost, I don't know what a trans kid is, right? I don't understand how a 10 or 11-year-old can grasp the concept of being transgender, right? I don't really understand that. But they try to tell you that social transitioning is harmless. You're a bigot. They're not putting drugs in their body. They're not cutting off their genitals yet, right? What are you worried about? But again, social transitioning is where it starts. And then it starts to get physical, right? You see how it went from, well, it's just pronouns to, well, chest binders. Chest binders. For an 11-year-old girl who probably just hit puberty. She doesn't know what's going on. And then she's already basically being counseled on hating her genitalia, right? Hating a part of her body. Incredible. It's absolutely shameful. It's disgraceful. It's disgusting. But again, this is more common than you think. And it's getting to the point now where the wokes are basically saying the quiet part out loud about how they feel about children. Like, for example, this Philadelphia Quaker school sex ed teacher basically said at some conference, right, at some type of, speech or whatever, he said that every single one of the kids in school are a sexual being, and they have been a sexual being since birth. Take a look.
At my school, I'm responsible for the sexuality education of all of our students, from our youngest students who are 3 years old in nursery school, up through our 12th graders who are turning 18 and getting ready to leave high school. That's a huge range, but every single one of those kids is a sexual being. They have been since birth. And at every age and stage, we can offer them age-appropriate, transformative sexuality education. I'm only a small part of the village that supports them as they grow. It's not enough that I teach them. We have to teach them. Part of my message today is that we all, no matter what else we do in life, need to find a way to be sexuality educators for the kids in our lives. If we don't step up, others will. And many of those others don't see wholeness and freedom the way we do. One of the things we can celebrate today is how young people have so many more options to consider than simply whether they feel like a boy or a girl, or whether they identify as gay, straight, or bisexual. Our understandings of both gender and orientation have greatly expanded in our culture. And there's an ever-increasing list of labels one can use to describe oneself. To me, this is a great benefit because it allows people, especially young people, to find a more precise way to describe their own experience. What it's also brought about is greater latitude in experimenting with different identities. It's not uncommon today for young people to try out different labels and different pronouns and different relationships in search of their truth.
Yeah, so FBI, check this man's laptop, right? He's a prime suspect for getting his laptop checked, because who in the world in their right minds can crack their lips to say that children are sexual beings since birth? Why would you even look at a child that way? I mean, who looks at a child, a baby, and say, oh, you're sexual, right? Why, like, again, how does that sound? It don't even sound right. Why can't these people just let kids be kids? Let children be children. Let's say, okay, that homosexuality, right, or transgenderism or whatever, let's say it's not a choice, right? Let's say it's not a choice. If it's not a choice, then what is the point of any type of so-called sexual education? Because if they're gay, they're gay, right? If they're transgender, they're transgender. They don't need to be coached into it, right? They don't need to be coached on it. They don't need any type of counseling. They don't need any type of education on it. When they get old enough where sex becomes an actual thing for them, not at 3, not at 6, not at 9, hopefully not before 18, right? Hopefully not before marriage, if you really want to go there. But I'm just saying, if they're going to go through it anyways, why do you need this? You don't need this. You only need this if you're trying to coach kids into their sexuality, right? You're trying to push them in a certain direction. When kids are kids, they don't know anything about that. They're not sexual beings. They're just children. But again, unfortunately, you can't send a child to school without worrying about them being racially indoctrinated, sexually indoctrinated, gender indoctrination. You have to worry about a kid being turned into a woke LGBTQ BLM activist. That seems to be the only thing that these schools are focused on. That seems to be the only thing they care about. Meanwhile, again, we have stories out of Baltimore where you literally have 23 Baltimore City schools that have zero students that can do math at grade level. But the only thing I'm seeing, from these schools in terms of what they really care about is making sure they can talk to kids about sex. Kids can't even do math. They can't read, can't write. But they know about, transgenderism, right? They know about, being bisexual, being a lesbian, being woke, right? They know about BLM. They know about systemic racism. It's amazing. It really is amazing what is happening to this country, what is happening to these schools, what is happening to our children. These kids are the future of this country, and this is what we're focused on. It's crazy, man. I mean, again, homeschooling, school choice. All of these stories that I do are basically just advertisements for that, right? This is why I do the stories. They're advertisements for saving your children. Understand what's going on in these schools. It's not safe. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.